drop every taste on the tip of my tongue. Bend my nail, bite my thumb. Evidence won't clear my name. Baby, your presence will be the breath into the moment when I press my eyes shut. Now I'm ready. I'll do anything. I'm not asking this is mine through the perfect strings. 10,000 days on there. Days won't clear our names. Oh, baby, it's our last kiss. We'll last forever. That's the moment when I rest my eyes shut. Now I'm ready. Yeah, the only answer's what we've always wanted. Ooh, and we hold it till there's nothing else can let us down. The only answer's what we've always wanted. Oh, oh, oh,
Welcome, everybody, to a very impromptu episode of All Hang Up and Listen. Brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western Europe's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at all of their locations. One of the best places to go for your happy hour, all of your sporting events, whether it's the potential last two games, the NHL Finals. They have live music, entertainment, and trivia at all their locations, and just great vibes. They're both kid and dog friendly. Make sure you get over there. You can find them at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter, and a Buffalo logo apparel. Honestly, like when it comes to getting any like your Bills gear, your Sabres gear, your Bandits gear, I'm sure they have Bison's gear. BuffaloLogo.com is the place to go. At Buffalo Logo Co. on Instagram and Twitter. You can find them on Facebook too. They have some of the best stuff. They make some of our stuff. The RJ Letterman hat here. Paying homage to the greatest broadcaster of all time. And, of course, you can pay some homage to the greatest goalie of all time with their Letterman cap, and it doesn't do justice. The embroidery on these are incredible. The Lindy Ruff shirt also – actually, I think it's sitting right back here, isn't it? It is. The Lindy Ruff shirt also available – not upside down at Buffalo Logo Apparel. Make sure you check them out. All available on their website. Get over there and support them. And they have so many other cool stuff. Their Zubas golf polos are also incredible as well. Yeah, Gary, I'm going to try and keep this very short and sweet. Kevyn Adams had his press conference today. I was fortunate enough to be able to listen to pretty much the entirety of it. And a couple notable things to talk about. First, Jeff Skinner was brought up almost immediately, I believe. I want to see if it was over Lance or Mike Harrington about the potential rumors about a buyout, if that's an option. He acknowledged the rumors, and he didn't necessarily shut them down. He didn't say, like, you know, he essentially, from my recollection, said that they're going to do whatever is in the best interest of the team. They had long conversations with Jeff at the end of last season. So I guess what I would say is, if it is going to happen, I would say this would probably be the offseason it would happen. I think Kevyn Adams' job is on the line this season. I would even go as far as almost say it's playoff or bust. He knows he has to build a playoff team for this next coming season. He cannot let what happened last season happen this year. And I don't know if he's willing to, have Jeff Skinner be a part of this team next year. We'll see. I don't know. Personally, I think a lot of teams have players like Jeff Skinner, guys who just go score goals. They're not, they have their defensive liabilities, but their job is to go and score goals. And Jeff has always gone and he's always scored goals. But at the price tag and the money he makes, if it wasn't as rich, I think, the pill would be a little easier for Kevyn Adams to swallow. But, yeah, I think that Kevyn Adams, he didn't really directly say anything, but the one thing I would say that was most notable is he did not directly shut down those rumors. He didn't shut it down and say, no, it's not going to happen. He didn't show his hand, but he kind of peeled up the cards a little bit. So I think that is an option this offseason. Not 100% positive on all the numbers exactly. Personally, I much would rather see them eat some cap or eat some of his salary and trade him. There's got to be a team out there that's willing to trade for Jeff Skinner if the Sabres are willing to retain salary. I mean, look at what just happened with Pierre-Luc Dubois. And how about the LA Kings? Everything they gave up to get Pierre-Luc Dubois, which is insane. They gave up a haul to get him for one season where he scored 40 points, and then they flip him for who was it? The goaltender. Why can't I remember his name now? Was it Darcy Kemper, right? Darcy Kemper. Yeah. Imagine being an LA King fan right now. The amount of youth you gave up for that guy, and then that's the end result. The trade tree ends there, but you didn't get any better. You got worse. You thought, hey, maybe we can at least flip this guy for something. If it doesn't work out, they didn't even flip him for anything reasonable. They just didn't. I'm looking up right here. Here it is. Rob Blake traded Velarde, Iafallo, Buffalo native, Kapari, and the 37th overall for 1 year of Pierre-Luc Dubois at $8.5 million, getting 40 points, and then the corpse of Darcy Kemper coming off an .890 save percentage season with 3 years left at $5.25 million. Yeah, Rob Blake. I mean, that's good enough to get some GMs fired. But if you can make that deal at that price tag, there's gotta be somebody out there willing to make a deal for Jeff Skinner with retention. There has to be. So, and a guy who isn't a headache, and he's good in the locker room. People like him. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whine. The complete polar opposite of Pierre-Luc Dubois. However, I will say this: if he can figure it out in Washington, he has the style, the body type to be a very elite player in the NHL. But we'll see if it ever comes to fruition for Pierre-Luc Dubois. But Kevyn Adams didn't exactly shut down those rumors today. So I will say this. They talked a little bit extensively about, about UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He is very confident they're going to sign him to an extension. That contracts talks began as early as March. I think he mentioned that they spoke even as early as last week. So he sounds pretty confident to get that deal done. Henry Jokiharju, he changed agencies, and I guess that kind of changes the dynamic of negotiations a little bit. So he was a little more vaguer on that. And then Peyton Krebs, a lot of rumors surrounding him. Kevin mentioned that he had discussions with Peyton on his role with the team this past season and, his future. And, Krebs made comments to Kevin, and Kevin reiterated that he is very determined on becoming a much better 200-foot player. And listen, I like Peyton Krebs. I do. But he was supposed to be the centerpiece of the Jack Eichel trade. Arguably the biggest trade in franchise history. And he hasn't even come close to the expectation we've had for him. Now, maybe he could have played in the minors a little bit longer. Maybe, the coach, let's be honest, second or third coach with Lindy. I don't know. I can't remember if he played under Kruger or not. I don't think he never played under Kruger. So he just played under Donnie. And now this would be his second coach. I don't know. Listen, for me, it's like, I love his tenacity. I love how he's not afraid to get engaged physically with literally anybody in the league. He fought Sidney Crosby. He got Sidney Crosby to break. Remember that? Sidney Crosby fought him. I like his style. But if you have an opportunity to flip Peyton Krebs for a player that's going to help you now, rather than waiting and hoping that he reaches this potential that he was supposed to have coming out of the draft, I mean, I'm all for it. And that brings me to the next question. I believe, we'll see who it was. Some rumors came out of Philadelphia today. Actually, it involved Peyton Krebs, surprisingly enough. So this came from Christopher Mahar, at _Chris Mahar, who also does, his platform is Mahar Media, at Mahar Media Co. There is some serious movement incoming. Founder Chris Mahar reports the Flyers are aiming to pick twice in the top 12, and Joel Farabee is in fact available. And Chris also reported hearing Farabee is available for the Flyers in a trade. In a trade type move, lots of different possibilities with Farabee. Hearing the Flyers have been working on some ways to acquire the 11th pick in the draft from the Buffalo Sabres without having to use their own pick, number 12, to trade up. So it looks like they want just another pick without having to trade theirs. That's where it gets interesting, because in this next line was they do have some ongoing interest in center Peyton Krebs as well. That's interesting to hear. Now, these are two different rumors. Joel Farabee is available, and there's interest in Peyton Krebs. Do I think Peyton Krebs could use a change of scenery? Sure. Do I think that he could play in Philly, and I think Tortorella would love him? Absolutely. I think Tortorella would absolutely love a kid like Peyton Krebs. Am I saying that he'll thrive more there? No, I'm not. But that being said, where do you value Joel Farabee? He just came off his career high season of 50 points with Philly, his second 20-goal season, his fourth season, I think, of third or fourth season of scoring 15 goals or more. Very fast-paced player, gets the puck up the ice, plays on the left wing, produces with speed, and has a great puck handling skills. He doesn't really get dirty, get into dirty areas as much as some would like, but he's still a young player. He's still growing. In terms of secondary scoring, it was something that the Sabres lacked a lot last season. Joel Farabee would bring that to you. And before I went live, I was trying to figure out where he played in their lineup. He was all over the place in their lineup. He was in the first line, the second line, the fourth line, the third line. He was never really had a spot. He played on the first power play unit. I mean, Torts had him all over the place in that lineup. Played with Konechny. He played with Lawton. He played with everybody on that team. So is Joel Farabee a player that you would value in a deal for that 11th pick? I don't know. I'd be interested. He's still young. He's a Syracuse kid. He's local. I'm sure Alex Tuck knows him. I'd be very interested to know, what Philadelphia would be asking for Joel Farabee. So, again, 50 points last season. Obviously, Philly didn't make the playoffs, but he provides speed. I know the Sabres are going to want to play with a lot of speed this next season. He's going to give you secondary scoring. He might slide in on your third line, but he could easily play second line minutes, I think. And I think that I know he played with Konechny a little bit last season, but I think he's going to play with more talented players in Buffalo. I do. And where would he fit in? What does it cost? What do we have to ship out? Are Are you shipping Peyton Krebs along with that 11th pick to Philly for Joel Farabee and something else? I'm not sure what other players might be available. I did see an interesting tweet earlier about like a potential projected lineup. I'll see if I can find it. But with another player from Philly involved in said, see if I can find it. One moment here. Let's see here. I apologize for the delay. Here we go. From at Matt Kopnak. This is actually like an hour ago. Is this a playoff roster? Don't get caught up on the line combinations. But he had Cates and Farabee, which I'm assuming you would pull from Philly in exchange for that 11th overall pick. Now, is that a deal that gets that done? Are you happy with that deal? I'm not too familiar with Cates per se, Noah Cates, but again, young player. He's only 25 years old, another U.S. kid. Last season, let's see, Noah Cates, 18 points in 59 games. So he's a bottom six guy, which Buffalo needs. They need more youth in their bottom six. 6'2", 194 pounds. I like that quite a bit. I like size in your bottom six. Again, something they lacked last year. Let's check out his PIMs. I'm curious to see how many penalties and minutes he had last season. His PIMs were, if this will ever load. 1 second. Oh God, Hockey DB, you would be the death of me. I'm trying to look up Joel Farabee's penalties and minutes last season. Let's see if ESPN can give it to me. It was a -8. Okay, so he only had 6. He has 16 career penalty minutes, so he's not a guy that's gonna go out there and take penalties and maybe play a more violent game, play on the edge a little bit. But he's a bottom six guy who might provide you with some bottom six scoring. Is that enough for you to be happy with dealing the 11th overall pick? You're getting youth. You're definitely getting speed and secondary scoring with Joel Farabee. So I think I'd be okay with it if it's just straight up. I don't know if I would even include Peyton Krebs in that deal. I don't know if I would. You're getting the 11th overall pick. If you had to, sure. But if the interest is there and they want Krebs and that gets you Joel Farabee and a bottom six guy, or Joel Farabee and maybe a second round pick, a day 2 pick, I'd be all about it for sure. So we got some comments here in the peanut gallery. Sabres are looking at Arthur Klev from the Kings. Again, I like the player. I do like the player. I hate to say, but Peyton Krebs ain't him. I don't think Joel Farabee is worth a first. I mean, I don't know. It's not that big of a draft, man. It's a deep draft, but even Jerry Fortin said, like, after the fifth ranked player, there's a big drop off. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Again, I think I personally would like a little more juice to that deal from Philadelphia side of things. If we are trading the 11th overall pick, it'd have to be more than Farabee, I think. Interesting player. I think that he is a guy that you can easily slot in your third line, but could possibly play a second line role. Plays with a ton of speed. Elite, very good hands, good shot, and good producer of the puck too. So high hockey IQ. And one other thing I read on him, and I watched some clips too, is he's really good away from the puck. He's a really responsible player. He plays all over the ice, which is, again, something I think that Lindy Ruff will value, and that the Sabres need desperately. They need better players in all 3 zones on the ice, for sure. So thank you, Kate Hogg. Yeah, it's been a minute. I appreciate you guys. Cates and Farabee for the 11th pick might not be bad. Again, like, I'm very indifferent. Like, I would like more, but again, and this goes back to Kevyn Adams' press conference too. He seems very content and happy with what his about with his prospect pool. He made a point to say that, and like they are very open for business on that 11th overall pick. They're willing to trade it if the right deal is there to be made. A team looking to trade up like Philadelphia. He even mentioned he might be willing to trade back. So I'm all on board with that. Again, I've been a proponent since day one, since we lost the draft lottery. Chances of winning it were slim down anyways. I was a big proponent of trading the pick because you have so much in your pipeline right now as it is. Kevyn Adams, especially knowing that he's in a win now mode, his job could be on the line next season if this team again doesn't make the playoffs under his watch. I think that pressure combined with the obvious, like this team we don't need any more prospects unless you get like a Zach Benson type thing where a guy drops to you that shouldn't be there. Then sure, maybe I could see them making that pick. But then in that turn, does that force you to trade one of your 4 big prospects, your Savoy, your Oslin, your Rosen, your Kulig? Are you going to trade one of those guys? Because I think it should be one or the other. You're either trading 11 or you're trading one of those 4 because you need to bring somebody in this offseason via trade, not just hope it works out in free agency. You have to bring in somebody that's going to help this team win next season. A guy who's going to provide you either top line scoring or secondary scoring, one or the other. So with that being said, like I think he knows his job's on the line. I think that's why he's so willing to make a deal heading to the draft and just a little over a week away at the Vegas Sphere. So I don't know. We'll see. I am all on board with trading that pick for sure. I've been since day one. We had Mike Harrington on the show. He's been on board with trading it. I think they should. I really, really don't think they should. K-Dog, 11th pick won't be as available as people think. I don't know, man. Kevyn Adams, and they seem pretty open for business if the right deal is being made. So, not saying it's going to be traded, but don't be surprised if it happens. I'll say that. I think they need 1 top 6'4", 3 or 4 bottom 6 players, grit and toughness, and a fifth or sixth defensive. My thoughts. What do you think? I agree with a lot of that. I think that there aren't going to be a lot of spots though on this team up for grabs. That's why those guys I mentioned, Savoy, Kulik, Rosen, awesome guys that could be spending another year in the minors. You know, Savoy could be in Rochester. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, well, depends on what they do this offseason. I said it last year. I said it at the start of last season. I thought Krebs could be on the outside looking in, and not to pat myself on the back here. I know it's a year later, but like, what did I say? Like, being a small, gritty pest guy isn't enough when you're part of the biggest trade in franchise history. You're the centerpiece of it. You need to produce. You need to score. So I don't know, man. That's just me. So there aren't going to be a ton of I think spots available on this team unless they don't bring back Ergensen's, and there's 2 spots available right there if you are getting rid of Krebs, if you aren't bringing back Ergensen's, maybe 2 to 3 roster spots. So maybe 2 spots to fill either via free agency or trade, and then maybe another spot via your prospects, those 4 players I mentioned. So I don't know. We will see. I wouldn't mind if we kept 11 and we got Tija Ginla. Great ball line, Jerome. It's hard, and we had Chris Peters on yesterday, and he mentioned it's a difficult shadow to play to skate in when your dad was a Hall of Famer. But I mean, he comes from a great bloodline. We'll see. I've given that some thought too, for sure. So there are definitely a decent amount of players, defensemen, right-handed defensemen. I think if they do make that pick, it'll probably be a defenseman, right? I can't see them taking a forward unless somebody drops them that they can't pass up at best player available. Jerry Thornton mentioned that best player available maybe at that pick. So maybe they do go with a forward, but you need right-handed defensemen. So I know we will see. That being said, guys, just your thoughts. I'll obviously broadcast this again tomorrow. I was bored here tonight. like, you know what? Let's go on. Let's rip. I'll hang up and listen. It's been a minute since I talked to you guys in that capacity. Kevyn Adams had his press conference today. I don't know. I was happy with the things I heard. I was happy with the availability of 11th overall pick. I was happy that he didn't shut down the rumors surrounding Jeff Skinner buyout. However, I do want that to be a trade. I do not want a buyout. Find a trade partner. If you have to eat a little salary for a few years, fine. You're only doing it for 3. He has 3 more years remaining on his contract rather than the 6 years on a buyout. There's got to be somebody out there willing to trade for Jeff Skinner that needs just a goal scorer. That's a team that's got enough 200-foot players on their roster right now to make up for maybe the liability that comes with Jeff Skinner defensively. So I think you got to find a trade partner, because I just think I think that there is value there, in my opinion. Trade him if you can. There's got to be a team out there if you're willing to eat some salary there, especially if you saw what Pierre-Luc Dubois got traded for today at a price tag of $8.5 million a season. But I'm going to let you guys go. It is about 20 to 11, 10:41. So, again, K-Dog Gergenson's house is for sale. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've heard of that. So that's interesting. It is interesting if Gergenson's house is for sale. Maybe that means he won't be back. I don't know. I know Kevyn Adams showed interest in bringing him back. So, but that being said, guys, I'll hang up and listen. Loved hopping on here for you guys for about 25 minutes. Wanted to keep it short. So enjoy the rest of your night. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Try and get through it. Stay cool, my friends. And we'll talk to you later. And as always, go Sabres. See you next time.
All the